In today's Meta Monday episode, I'm in the transitionary period between BT9 and BT10. Because of this deck utilizes cards primarily from BT9 and older, and none of the newer cards really supplement it. DEX-X-Antibody is another alternative way to play X-Antibody related Digimon. And for this Meta Monday episode, I cover the key cards for the deck, recommendations for the playstyle, and of course, substitutions you can utilize as well. This deck was primarily playtested against decks in the BT9 meta, especially the OTK variants, but has not been playtested against the dominating Xros Heart decks set to be released in a few short weeks. However, I will discuss the theoretical counters as well. And as always, if you enjoy these types of videos, do consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that notification bell for more future content. This deck runs 4 level 2s, 12 level 3s, 10 level 4s, 8 level 5s, 7 level 6s, 2 level 7s, 5 option cards, and 6 Tamers. For level 2s, this deck simply runs the Digimon package. You'll notice the majority of this deck is very heavy on the Alphamon line and changes primarily the top end. Digimon gets its effect primarily from the Greymon and Goromon add. Card draw can be very helpful for this deck. And while you may be wondering why I don't run a purple variant of this build, in testing the build was much slower and the memory cost to go into the Dex line just wasn't worth it. For level 3s, this deck runs 4 Dorumon from BT7, 4 Ryudomon, and 4 BT9 Dorumon. Your Dorumons are the true MVP of the deck, while Ryudomon just acts as another searcher. Decoy does come in handy if you're trying to get your Dex Goromon killed, but overall BT7 Dorumon helps with your memory tricks, and BT9 Dorumon assists with unbricking hands. BT9 especially is useful for dropping Dex variants in the trash, while helping you find your real EVO pieces. Substitution wise, I don't have too many right now other than the starter deck Chikurimon moving into BT10. While Ryudomon will be a guaranteed X-Antibody search, Chikurimon does not. But that's the sacrifice you'll need to make when it comes to consistency. Moving to level 4s, there's 4 Darugumon, 2 Ginryumon, and 4 Dex Darugumon. Darugumon acts as a blocker while you have another X-Antibody Digimon on the field. Ginryumon gives inheritable blocker, and Dex Darugumon gains blocker and retaliation if you Digivolve off a Darugumon or it's Digivolving from the trash. Again, all X-Antibody targets and possible hits from Dorumon, Ryudomon, Kota Demoto, and Cool Boy, and also possible trash targets for the BT9 Dorumon. My only substitutes would be potentially a single Grumblemon, but overall I don't feel the need for this Digimon because you don't run enough Black Tamers to really consistently utilize it, and you'll likely get it bottom decked. But keep in mind, Dex Darugumon gives you a lot of value for the fact that the EVO cost from Darugumon to Dex Darugumon is 0, and potentially a memory gain back. For level 5s, there's the simple 4 Greymon and 4 Dex Greymon. Greymon allows you to place a black card with X-Antibody in its traits from your hand to the bottom of this Digimon's Digivolution sources to prevent effects from deleting it or reducing its DP. Matchup wise, this helps against opponents who want to DP reduce or outright delete your level 5. This gives you a turn to raise a new egg, and also pop a level 4 or lower Digimon with Dex Greymon, gain a memory back for the trash effect, and then climb to level 6. I currently don't recommend any other level 5s, because they're all X-Antibody that work with each other. Greymon is Alphamon specific, while Hisaryumon might become the substitute for Greymon once it gets limited here on the English side of things. Level 6 wise, there's 4 copies of Goromon and 3 copies of Dex Goromon. 4 copies of Goromon help enable a more aggressive strategy, while Dex Goromon helps with popping the board and preventing your opponent from building wide. However, in the BT9 meta, this deck would rarely see placement due to Melga X decks. Metal Garurumon X might be able to deal with this deck, but it will have issues with the Tamer flooding coming soon in BT10. Also do keep in mind that while Goromon might be pumped with additional Greymons, it also can pop bigger bodies as you place more sources underneath it. Which takes this deck to the 2 copies of DeathXmon. This popular and expensive secret rare is going to be staple splashed in many decks moving forward. On play or when Digivolving, you de-Digivolve 1 on all your opponent's board, then delete all of their level 4 and lower. With Xros Heart and Blue Flare, this is a guaranteed board wipe from their level 5s. While some decks run it at 3, I might also consider bumping it up one more copy, moving into the next format. For option cards, I run 5 in the form of 1 X-Antibody, 2 Metal Impulse, and 2 DeathX Digivolution. 1 X-Antibody is just a search for Cool Boy for a free +1. Additionally, it helps me potentially gain a memory or draw a card, should I need it with Doraemon or Dorumon's effect. This is another consideration to be bumped up, but I haven't decided yet. Metal Impulse, for the D-Digivolving in next format, but do keep in mind that this option card can really only be utilized with your Dex line out or in the raise. Meaning if you don't have that purple source, you're kind of SOL. This is a consideration to be removed, but I've liked it at 2 copies so far. And finally, 2 DeathX Digivolution for Digivolving from the trash. The only substitute card I have in mind right now is Breath of the Gods to counter other decks that can bounce my stack. Bounce cards may become more frequent moving forward, but I'm undecided yet on this still. In the end, I may swap the 2 Metal Impulses for Breath of the Gods, or Kongus depending on how the meta shapes up next format. And finally, 6 Tamers in the form of 2 Kota Demoto and 4 Cool Boy. Kota is a memory fixer that also provides you a search off the top 4 cards for, you guessed it, an X-Antibody Digimon. And since everything in the deck is 1, you pick what you want to add to the hand. A rookie perhaps? Or that level 4, 5, or 6 you're missing? It's up to you. Cool Boy does the same thing, but also helps gain you memory and draw you a card when you go into the same level Digimon that's X-Antibody, meaning your Dex line. Overall, I don't have any substitutions here for the fact that everything works smoothly, Tamer-wise. For strengths and weaknesses, this deck plays more mid to late game. Against aggro decks, you can be defensive with your blocker Retaliator should Melga X be your opponent. Blockers in general slow other decks down. In the Alphamon matchup, it's a huge toss-up on how well you or your opponent opens up. But arguably, your worst matchups are Musketeers and Black War Greymon Gaiomon decks. Against Musketeers, you have to deal with the worst option card once they get their blue Tamer Kiyoshiro online. While this can be mitigated with Breath of the Gods, D-Digivolve is more valuable moving forward in a BT10. Black War Greymon and Gaiomon decks will typically utilize some form of Tamer Destruction, and Cool Boy is highly susceptible with its 2-play cost. Additionally, memory blockers can be detrimental to the deck because it prevents you from gaining memory. Luckily with Dexdoru Greymon, you can sequence this to pop the memory blocker before you gain the memory back. In the theoretical matchup against Xros Heart, setting up the blockers is also a great way to stop them from chip damaging you. And of course, DeathXmon provides the best counter to them, just playing bodies. Instead of trashing this card, you may want to hold on to it. But if you do set up Dexdoru Goromon, if they kill it, that's also a free DeathXmon to be played. For combos, the goal of this deck is to do like Alphamon and build in the raise. Set up your Tamers one at a time till you're ready to push and explode with a single combo that can decimate your opponent's board, or kill them. Darugamon and multiple Cool Boys is typically the best time to push out. If you have Kota Demoto on hand, you go to 3 memory. Digivolve in a Dex Darugamon for 0 and draw a card. Trash 1 card and then gain 1 memory back off of Dex Darugamon, and then tap your Cool Boys for 2 more memory and 2 more cards. Now you have 6 memory to play with. Now Digivolve in a Doru Greymon to prevent DP reduction or deletion based effects and slip in another Doru Greymon for the extra aggro, or Dorumon if you're wanting to gain more memory. Going into a Dex Doru Greymon deletes level 4 blockers or any level 4 or lower that's on the battlefield. Then you can gain 1 memory back by trashing a card. Next, go into Dorugoromon, and now this Digimon can be deleted by card effects, DP reduced, and has security check +1 and a lot of DP buffs. The main issue here is bounce cards. Kokaitis Breath and Melga X decks can ruin your combo instantly, but moving into BT10, there's not too much bouncing going on with Xros Heart. Blue Flare might. But after you swing with Dorugoromon, you can simply call it a day by going into Dex Dorugoromon and wiping your opponent's board. Because even if your opponent can somehow beat over it, very likely that's going to mean a D-Digivolve and another board wipe. What are your thoughts on DEX-X-Antibody for today's meta profile? Do you think it'll be a rogue build that does well moving to BT10, or are you jumping onto the hype train for Xros Heart, Blue Flare, or even Twilight? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. This is DIGI-PANDA, logging out.